Hello, everyone. Welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. My name is Prabhat, founder at Online Seller UK, and we're into another episode today, which is another interesting one. It's focused for Amazon vendors, and the topic for today is buy box price battles and multi-channel commercial strategies. I'm joined by Pablo, who's got many years of experience of working with Amazon vendors, and he's worked with P&G as well, and he's got his own agency, which is called Ecom Grandmasters. So let's introduce this, bring him in, and then we can take it from there. So Pablo, introduce yourself, and we take it from there.
Thank you, Prabhat. So yes, here Pablo Lapeña, Spanish by birth, but have been working at European level already for a few years. And my greatest vendor experience comes from 8 years working with Procter and Gamble. But we also have kind of like several brands that we own now, and we work for third brands. We manage their business in Amazon and TikTok. And now we are founding an academy, Ecom Grandmasters, and that's basically we want to give it back. So everything that we have learned, we want to give it back. We want to train the best students that will be working and managing products and brands in Amazon. So thank you for the invitation, Prabhat.
No, excellent. So, for those who don't know, so I met Pablo at Amazfest UK, and then
Indeed.
and Ants introduced, got introduced, and then I think and here he is on the podcast. So it does worth to come into events like conferences to meet up people. So which is great.
Absolutely.
Um, right, let's dive in. So buy box prices and things like that. So let's start. What is buy box? Let's start with that, and we can take it from there.
Okay. Yeah, so for people, I mean, probably everyone listening to this podcast at least buys on Amazon. So when you go to the product detail page where you see the product and all the pictures and all the content, in the right-hand side, more or less in the middle of the above the fold, you see a button that says buy box. So sorry, that says add to cart or that say buy now, right? This is the buy box. And this buy box it could be owned by Amazon itself when Amazon is working as first party retailer, but it can be owned by third party sellers. Okay, because Amazon is a marketplace. Just don't forget that Amazon is a retailer online, so they own the product and they resell. But Amazon is also a marketplace, so it allows thousands and thousands and thousands of third-party sellers to sell through Amazon, which means that this buy box button could be owned by Amazon, but could be owned by third-party sellers, even though Amazon could be also having an offer for the product. Okay, so you can find that there are 10 offers for this product, but only one of the offers owns the initial buy button. Okay, so that's important.
Okay, no, excellent. So that's a good intro on that. So let's talk about price wars. And you've worked with a lot of retailers, so you must have some examples to share. Let's talk on that.
Yes. Wow. So this probably resonates a lot to people that is working for big brands that works in multi-channels or works in multi-countries or even in several continents. And that's a very frequent headache, right? So particularly for your bosses or your leaders that do not understand at all what is going on, right? So these buy box battles starts, for example, let me give you one example. I'll go a little bit extreme, but people will quickly understand. So imagine you launch a product in Amazon, okay? You have designed the commercial go to market. You are going to sell this product in, let's say, 10 countries in Europe. You have designed kind of the prices, the promotional strategies for all of the countries, the portfolio. You have it all done. You launch it in Amazon. Good, all good. First month, all good. Amazon is selling that only. But month number 3, then suddenly you enter into your product detail page and then you find, okay, now there are 7 offers. So it's not only Amazon selling that and owning the buy box, there are 7 offers. But what is worse is that you maybe find out that 2 or 3 of them are cheaper than Amazon price,
Mhm.
which means that suddenly they become the owners of the buy box. And then the headache starts. No? That's the typical case going a little bit extreme, Prahat.
Okay, so which means my PO obviously we're talking Amazon vendor's perspective. My PO may not be there. My PO will stop appearing because there is no orders from the customers, right?
Of course. I mean, you think you are selling the product.
Yeah,
Amazon actually has an offer, but they
yeah,
are not selling a single unit
that's it.
because some other third-party sellers are selling your
Mm-hmm,
product
mm-hmm,
because they own the buy box, because they have won the offer. Because maybe you are selling the product at, let's go with numbers, you are selling the product at 50 euros, and then this reseller is selling at 45 euros or
mm,
45 pounds. So then you don't own it. You think you have the product listed, because you say, I have done everything right. I launched it. It's all the content there. It's right pricing on pricing strategy. But but all the people is selling, no? So that's how you should picture the situation.
yeah. Okay, cool. So what do we do? I think that's a very important. I think everybody must be wanting to listen to your solution for this problem.
I mean, it depends a lot on the case, of course, but
Hmm.
the hope is that this can get solved.
Yeah.
But this is not about reacting, it's more about understanding how Amazon works and preparing yourself, your brand, for for that Amazon behavior of things. Okay. So in this specific case, that it happened several times in my career, the problem was solved. However, the solution of the problem was learning and next time designing better or making sure you understand all the elements that Amazon is taking into consideration when setting up these strategies. So there is hope.
Yes. Okay.
And if we go to the specific, so potential, Prabhat, root causes, more typical root causes. When you have a multi-channel strategy and you are selling not only on Amazon, but you are selling to, imagine for fast-moving consumer goods, you are selling to supermarkets, hypermarkets, pharmacists, wholesalers, distributors, and then you are selling to all of these channels, but also in several countries.
Mhm.
Okay, and at European level, I mean, the cross-border shipping is very easy. European Union level, for of course, is extremely easy, but UK and European Union is also pretty easy, basically. Okay, so what could happen is that in some of these different channels and different country combinations, there are these very smart players that could be finding arbitrage, which means imagine typical example of an Eastern distributor, an Eastern wholesaler that got a super cheap price. And then guess what? If I could be an Eastern wholesaler and get a good price on a big brand, what I will do, I'll go to Germany to sell on Amazon, or I will go to the UK to sell that on Amazon. Particularly if the price is that good that I can even dump the price of Amazon 1P, no? Or Amazon as a retailer. So that could be one thing, arbitrage across countries. It could be also arbitrage across channels. I mean, you can have a different pricing strategy. The brand can have a different pricing strategy for wholesalers or distributors in his own country versus hypermarkets or, let's say, online retailers. So you could be thinking Amazon is having the best price, but actually a wholesaler, because they have rappels on volume, whatever the reason, always very good reason, is getting a very good price. And then suddenly, guess what? Again, I mean, smart wholesalers, smart retailers, smart pharmacists, they know Amazon is a growth engine. So basically, if you want to really make money and sell more, what they are going to do, they will sell through Amazon. And selling on Amazon these days is definitely not difficult. I mean, you just create a seller account and you can sell through. So typical case number one. Typical case number two, obsolete products. So a product that is kind of like transitioning to a new product. So a product is getting obsolete and a new product is coming, maybe with an innovation or whatever. What happens is that normally at country level or even at local level multi-channel, the changing times vary. Okay, so imagine, typical example, the UK is making a product obsolete in December now and launching in January. However, France is doing that, but in March and April. And then Germany is doing that, but in June. And so all these time differences generate also arbitrage positions. As normally there are pricing differences, so in one country it can be obsolete, but in other country it can still be a top seller. So suddenly in this country, it's obsolete. People want to get rid of it. So therefore they dump the price. They lower the prices to sell this through. So typical root causes are these. And even though most of the people will think, okay, is Amazon to blame? I mean, Amazon is dumping prices. Amazon is allowing. It's not that. So normally you need to look inside. You need to look into your belly bottom and say, okay, there is maybe something that I'm not doing right. So I tell you, in my experience, like 80 to 90% of the cases were solved with time whenever you look inside. And when you look inside, you find the problem. And the problem cause normally is not Amazon, is the brand. But just normally. I mean, there are exceptions, of course.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about any other areas. Let's introduce Seller Central here. So would you suggest a vendor to introduce Seller Central in the mix? Um, I'm just trying to word it properly here. So if we introduce Seller in the mix and then look at the price in the seller side, do you think that will have an impact at all?
That's a great question, a big debate. I have these conversations many times with very senior leaders.
Hmm.
So, and the answer, simple answer is normally you cannot fix 90% of the cases where
Okay.
these buy box issues happen.
Hmm.
So, if you, as a vendor, you want to leverage the seller advantages, because being as a seller and a vendor, or being hybrid, no, as some companies are,
Yeah.
it could have some benefits for you.
Yeah.
You need to really define what are your objectives,
Hmm.
because most of the objectives you can fulfill just being a vendor, just to be super clear.
Yeah.
So then there is also this imagination of, okay, if I become a seller, everything's fixed. No, I mean, actually, if you don't fix your commercial go-to-market strategy, so this multi-channel, multi-country, as I have described, same thing will happen over and over again. So the fact that you are a seller, it does not give you further advantage on this specific problem.
Okay, fair enough. So, um, I'm just going towards, I think we talked a bit, but I feel like there are a few more things to add, and I don't have any questions as such to because you've explained very well on the initially what could have caused the issue. But now, open-ended question really, is there anything you want to add in terms of
I would say
pricing?
one thing. So typical debate on big companies is Amazon can become a pain in the ass for commercial leaders. It's like, okay, and then Amazon is the great target to point out all the kind of like blaming. Okay. But actually, when I talk with senior leaders, my speech was around Amazon is a massive growth engine. And Amazon has one benefit that other retailers do not. That is, Amazon is tremendously predictable.
Mm.
Tremendously predictable. You can perfectly predict when you are designing the commercial go-to-market for an initiative, an innovation, or for a full brand launch, or for a full country launch, you can understand what is going to happen, because Amazon is not driven by emotions as many other retailers, ego, emotions, etc. Amazon is driven by algorithms, and algorithms take signals, and signals are measurable. And if this is measurable, I mean, it's just out of experience, of course. And most companies and most brands do not have the experience to understand what I'm talking about. But once you get the experience, is typical, predictable behavior, which means, okay, for the next launch, if this one failed on one channel, suddenly it was kind of generating arbitrage or in one country, next time we should learn. There is also a big watch out that I don't want to get too much into that, but at European level, we have all this antitrust legislation. So you need, I mean, brands need to be extremely careful. Okay, you cannot just ask Amazon to drop or to up price. You cannot control prices in the market. Okay, but what you can actually do is you can control your own commercial strategy, and you can assess how Amazon behaves. And Amazon behaves predictively, which means 90% of the potential scenarios that could happen around pricing wars, you can predict. So as simple as that. So there is hope. Let's put hope into the system, okay? For brands and big brands and multinational companies, this is typical headache. It's very easy. You can manage for a small brand. We are also sellers. You have one brand and you have maybe all Europe or you have the US. In the US, it's much easier, definitely. But in Europe, you still need to manage a little bit the pricing across countries.
Yeah.
However, for a multinational company, that they need to manage different teams, different setups, different even companies or kind of like, so different teams taking decisions. This coordination is essential for the success of Amazon. And Amazon it could be a gold mine or it could be a total disaster. And then people will blame Amazon, but actually they should look inside and probably they could have done different. So there is hope, Prabhat.
Yeah. I like how you're saying there is hope. I think that's the most important part, and everything falls under that, I think. Okay, right. Okay, so I think I quite enjoyed this conversation actually. So it's really good that you've set aside your busy time in this busy period to talk to us. So I appreciate that time. I'm sure a lot of brands wants to talk to you. Find out. This is a regular problem everybody has. So if somebody wants to talk to you, have a conversation with you, where is the best place to find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Pablo Lapeña, or you can go to ecomgrandmasters.com. We will be really eager to help or to advise any brand. We also train a lot of professionals. So very soon we will release the first trainings on our academy, and the first professionals will be out in the market. So we'd love to talk with companies also that wants good talent to flow into their companies that know this kind of like problematics and specifics. So please reach to us, ecombrandmasters.com. Happy to help, Prabhat.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Pablo, for your time. Let's speak to you soon. All the best.
Thank you, Prabhat.